at the end of 2020 is I received this amazing opportunity to go to one of the camps. And I realized that I am the only girl in the whole school.
Oh, really?
He said, we Japanese high school students, we never express our opinions. I guess part of me was thinking, imagine this is your last program.
Hello, this is Tokyo State of Mind, a podcast to make you feel connected to the Japan and our community. So today, it's my pleasure to interview our irreplaceable and bright host of the Tokyo State of Mind, Khamida. She's gonna share her experience of teaching at Japanese school. So, Khamida, hello!
Hi, Katya! Yay, I'm finally back.
Yeah, I'm so happy to interview you today. I know that you're full of impressions about this experience. So can you tell us about your experience of teaching at the Japanese school?
Yeah, oh my gosh, last month was insane because, I started teaching in Japan as my part-time job back in from last year, and so far at the beginning I think I was treating this job as okay, let's have some fun, let's meet some Japanese students and see and learn the culture and some issues that happen in Japan from them. And honestly, I think at the beginning I was very lucky. My first ever group was 5 Japanese guys who spoke zero English, but they tried so hard to speak. They were really, really they definitely felt shy to talk to a foreigner. It was their first experience, but they were really optimistic and they tried to ask as many questions as they could. They were buying me food all the time.
Aww.
And if you watch our podcast long enough, you maybe have noticed there is this tapestry of hokusai on my room. That was their present after one of the programs. I was so touched. I'm okay, this is the job where I get to meet Japanese high school students and they're treating me nice, they're buying me food, they're giving me the tapestry. That's the best job ever.
Wow.
But lately, as I was participating in more programs like this, I was in my room and I got this message from one of the companies it was an offer to work for 4 days in Christmas time in one of the schools in Saitama. And I was damn, Saitama.
Christmas Saitama.
Yeah. I'm why would I don't really want to work. Who wants to work on Christmas? Well, Santa works for Christmas. Yeah. So I'm only Santa works for Christmas. I don't want to work, but I guess I had to agree because I realized that I have nothing planned for the first half of the day, because on the later days we guys had a party and stuff, but at the beginning for the daytime I had nothing planned out. I'm why not to go and try it out. And then I took this offer. I came to school and I realized that I am the only girl in the whole school.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So the other teachers, they were male?
Yes. So it was it's funny how sometimes those programs, they have really crazy pattern. I don't know how they decide whom to hire for which kind of program, but I didn't even look at the description. I'm let me go. Yeah. So I came there and I noticed that I'm the only girl there in the whole school. It was all boys school.
Oh.
All teachers are boys. Only foreigners that came to teach with me, they were boys. And I'm okay, I mean, it's fine, I'm not it's not something too weird, but it was strange still.
Did you feel like you're alien there?
No, not really, actually. Yeah, but it was just okay, but but I felt I was hired there by accident.
It's a Christmas magic.
Yeah. And I was and then I found a pattern. So all the students, except for one other guy, they were from Tokyo University, and also the offer that I was talking about, it came with a message that were saying we urgently need someone to come. So I suppose maybe there were 2 guys who were supposed to come to this program, but they couldn't find those two guys, so they hired me
randomly.
Yeah, the best guy in Tokyo for sure. and then I had this very like strong image in my head that okay, it's a boys' school, and from what I've seen in other schools, usually boys are twice as shy as girls. They don't, especially when it comes to English. Girls are really like proactive in communicating and asking you questions, asking who's your favorite K-pop idol and stuff like that. But guys always like are just hiding behind the girls, like almost like, hey, can you translate for me and stuff. And I realized that the school is really good in the way that they had a very high like success rate. By success rate, I mean the rate. They had a big number of students who are entering Todai, Waseda, and Keio.
So it's a really good school.
Good school, yeah. Public, but a good school. So I was like, maybe the kids there are going to be not only shy, but also they're going to be super shy. Because they're studying so hard.
They're preparing for the Todai. They must be busy with studying. I see.
Yes. But then I came to this program, and on the first day, everyone is so pumped up. Like, when the facilitator was asking them, "Hey guys, are you ready?" They're like, "We're ready!" And I'm like, "Oh wow, I'm so not prepared for that." Because usually the kids are like, "We're ready. We want to sleep, go home." Of course, there's foreigners, like, you know. That was definitely the attitude was different. So, we had this program for 4 days, and from the beginning, I got assigned to a group of guys, and I called them BTS, not because there were 7 guys, but because we decided to call them BTS, like break the shy, you know. And my BTS guys, they were so hardworking, so like BTS for sure. Yeah, and I definitely enjoyed talking to them, and the attitude was also great from the beginning. So the whole idea of this program was to empower kids. Of course, I also didn't know what kind of program it was. I didn't read the description, and I looked at the curriculum. Okay, so I'm gonna be twice as more energetic as I usually am. It's an empowerment program. and then we had to talk about our dreams, and I don't know why every time they asked to talk about the dreams, I felt at the beginning, before we started the podcast, I felt it's such an intimidating question. I'm like, oh, I don't know, I haven't figured out, why should I talk about my dream? And I don't want to lie to kids, you know, because kids, they always feel if you lie about something. So I just but this time I finally had a topic to talk, so it was good luck, I guess, too. I started talking about my dream, and they they asked me a lot of questions, and it felt great that, you know, one of the things that I find it a little bit hard to work at Japanese schools is when you ask for questions, and everyone is shy, no one has questions. And when they don't understand your English, you realize that like maybe they have some questions, but they didn't understand your presentation in the first place. So you definitely can sense a gap. But this time the comprehension was good, so they were asking me questions. And the funny thing, like as the empowerment program was going from day 1 to day 4, I felt myself empowered too. You know, it's like I was supposed to empower them, but they empowered me in some ways, you know. That was weird, but that was a cool feeling, I can tell for sure. And other participants were also like brilliant. They were telling about their ideas, and I liked how I didn't feel like at the end of the program, I didn't really feel like I was the only girl there or something. It didn't matter. They really asked really smart questions. So I think like already by the end of the second day, I felt kind of attached to this group. I was like, man, they're so nice, because every time I was changing and coming to the new group, they're like, hi, like they're so, you know, welcoming and asking the questions. And on the second day, I think we had a debate. and I didn't know what to do for the debate. It was like my first time doing the debates in English in front of others, but I had some ideas. So we had the debate about what is better, country or city.
Oh.
And of course, I chose the city side. I like cities. I mean,
You mean countryside?
Yeah, countryside or city, like where to live. And so my other colleagues, like they were started talking about the convenience of country, of having fresh food and having fresh air and things. And then I was thinking, okay, how to make sure that I really definitely wanted them to enjoy the debate. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and talk about something that, working at schools definitely make you think how the kids think. So at the beginning, you're so selfish. You're like, okay, I'm just gonna
do how suitable for
me.
Yeah,
do what is the best for me, like, and make sure I'm not fired. But then gradually, as you become better at this job, you're like, hey, actually, I need to think about how they think, what your words are gonna impact them. So I'm like, okay, I'm in an all-boys school, and probably because they're always busy with their studies, they never had any fun debates here. So let me do something fun. So I came outside. I'm like, guys, there are 3 reasons why cities are the best. There are 3 C's. First, the city is cool. Second, where the best people come from cities. Where all your favorite models and idols they come from. They come from cities. And then second C was comfortable. When the new iPhone comes, where do you buy your new iPhone? Again, speaking their language, right? And then third, the city has a lot of chances. And I'm like, that's all boys school. So let's talk about girls. Imagine you like a girl, but she doesn't like you. If you live in the countryside, it's kind of hard to switch, okay, she doesn't like me and find someone else. But you live in the city, you have more chances.
You understood the psychology or the way of
I guess so. But it was so fun, and everyone was laughing, and I'm like, I'm happy they're having the great time.
You chose the right topic to attract.
And the funny part is when the facilitator was asking them why do you like what did you learn from the debates? One of the guys raised his hands. A lot of women in cities. And I'm like, yeah, he learned the most important part. I hope he doesn't do it in real life, but yeah.
And they were like, Khamida.
Yeah, and I was sure some of the teachers were like, oh, what is she teaching our kids? I don't know. Yeah. So, I guess part of me was thinking, imagine this is your last program.
I need to expose myself for 100%.
Yeah. Imagine it's your last program. So that was the thinking. And I think it works. Every time we do our podcast, we should think this is our last episode. And then
I don't want to think like this,
but it helps in some ways. So that was very fun. And there was slightly, as the connection between kids was there.
Did you feel connected to them?
Yes. I mean, one of the things that I definitely started to get a lot of joy from participating in this kind of programs is actually feeling connected to these kids and realizing that you can make a huge impact on them. Not just by teaching English, but actually to spending time and, talking one-on-one. And that was very precious because at some point, one of the students started approaching me and saying every time, when there's a break, hey, I have a question about that. Can you talk more about your presentation? Can you tell me why you like podcasts? Can you tell me about this?
Oh, really?
Yes. And then at some point he came to me and he said, he asked me a very deep question, which was, he said, we Japanese high school students, we never express our opinions because we are kind of trained to agree with others' opinions.
So he understands this problem.
Yes.
Oh.
He said we are trained to say yes, especially to our senpais. But you guys, like seeing you and other like international students, I see you always debating. I see you always like saying, no, I think this way. I mean, but not in a rude way, in polite way, but you're always debating. You are always expressing your opinions. And I said, yeah, that's true. It's nice that you have noticed that. And then he said, well, I have noticed that, but now I have a question for you. Why do you think I should debate and I should like express my opinions? And I'm like, I was so surprised. Like he asked me this question, but then I was like, okay, let me explain you the way how I view it. Imagine you are a jar, an empty jar for cookies. And every time someone, you speak with someone and there's like some decision making that you're facing, and you're saying yes to something that you strongly want to say no, your jar of cooking is getting full. But this jar of cooking has like cookies has a limited capacity, so one day it's gonna explode. So what I wanted to mean is that it's not good for mental health to be a comfortable person and not expressing your opinion, especially if you strongly disagree with something. That's one point. And the other point is, you like anime, right? And he's like, yeah, of course. So which characters are more fun to watch? Those who are always saying yes and just like, sumimasen, like, and stuff, or the ones that are making their own decisions
against the system.
Yeah, going against the system. It's like, kind of like those one. And I'm like, you see, and he said, wow, thank you. I'll think about it. And then on the last day of presentation, when he came to present, he said, I realized through this program that I should be my own character. Aww. I should express my opinions. And I was like, nice. Damn, I taught this kid something. Of course. Yeah. It felt great.
Yes, because you gave them examples that they were interested in.
Yeah.
That's great. That's like something that I think you cannot gain with experience. You just feel inside yourself, and that you can teach them in this way. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I was definitely like very touched that he asked me this question at the first place, and there were other students also asking me questions, but I think this one was the most memorable one because it also made me think, well, I should be a character of my own life. Like, okay, let me try to come up with the answer for him. There were one of the other things that made this experience that great is first, I noticed that in a lot of cases for this kind of, be it empowering program or just English learning program, a lot of kids are forced to participate there. So when you come there, they look at you like, like, I don't want to talk to you. That's it. Because I don't want to be there.
Yes.
But these kids, it was their own will to participate there. And that's why they got everything they could from it. Like, they were not wasting their time. They were asking us questions. They were active. And the incredible support of the teachers was also there. I could sense it. The teachers just loved the kids as well. They loved every minute of the program. And that's why we could do like more crazy things, like do this funny skits, and some of the students were singing,
really?
So some of them, they were coming up front and singing, which is
What?
very, very rare thing here in Japan that someone starts a presentation with singing. Yeah, usually I encourage kids like, hey, if you can sing or dance, just go outside. Doesn't matter if it's related to your presentation or not, but you can express yourself. Just go. They
I
were doing
cannot
that.
imagine Russian kids singing at the presentation.
Really?
Actually.
What kind of school you were
I
at?
don't know. Maybe I went to strict school too, but yeah, that's so cool, especially for Japanese
Yeah.
pupil students because they're
Mm.
very shy,
I
closed. Yeah.
I think so. Now, when I actually think about it, in Kyrgyzstan, I also cannot see that many students going like singing for presentations. Like I was doing that probably. I was the only person doing that. I'm like,
Yeah.
especially for the English class, it was my favorite one. And I think on the last day when I came to this program, I was like, man, am I gonna really say bye to this group? They're so amazing. And once we started the presentations, I just could see how like everyone was like, I think that was the top level presentations I've ever seen like in the schools, because they were coming with confidence. They didn't care about making mistakes in English. They just expressed themselves fully, and they were coming with a confidence, like say, I want to work for NASA.
Wow.
Yeah, like that. And someone would come like, I have no dream, but that means that I have a lot of opportunities and choices to make. And I'm like, wow, that's wise.
Yeah.
One guy said that he wants to be happy. That's his goal. And I will never forget that one of my BTS guys came out and say, I want to use my company's money to travel.
Yeah, he got the system.
He got the system.
Yeah.
That guy's, he cracked the system completely. Yeah. So, it was so cool to hear the stories. That's why I'm sharing them here on the podcast. And at the end, I felt so empowered by that. I just like came in front and was like, guys, thank you so much for this experience. Like by that time, I think I already had some super fans there. They were just like, Khamida. Yeah. And I was like, thank you so much for this experience. I was definitely empowered. And I told them that besides English, there are two international languages they can speak in order to have a good life, and meet many other friends. And I wrote those two words in Russian because they cannot read Russian. And I'm like, hey, can you guess what kind of two international languages besides English that you can speak and make friends? They were like, oh, is it Spanish? Is it French? Is it Chinese? Is it Russian? And I'm like, no. What do you think are those languages?
I think it's emotions, maybe.
Close.
Like non-verbal
close, yes.
communication.
Yeah.
Okay, what is it?
Those were music and dance.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, as long as you have a body, it doesn't matter if you're good at it or not. You can sing, you can dance. That's it. And and there was a guy who was really good at dancing. His moves were crazy. Nacho, his moves were better than yours. Yeah, I hope Nacho sees that. But yeah, his moves were really good. And I'm like, can you please come up front and help your group mates? Because the thing is, like, actually, the group that we had, those were not classmates. They were all from different classes.
Oh, really?
So most of them met each other for the first time.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
So I'm like, can you just introduce your friends, then you dance? And he's like, yeah. And usually it was so nice to finally see this kind of reaction where you're like, you talk to a high school student and like, can you help me to organize a dance or song? They say yes instead of no, please. Like usually most of them are just hiding. They're like, why me? Yeah. So he would come up front and we started dancing, and I could feel that by the atmosphere that everyone was so into it. They were dancing like without any shyness. They were just so pumped. And as a thank you for for all the participants, I'll never forget this moment. Like they started singing for us too. So they had their own school song. Imagine like this 35 students singing song like in a very like strong way. I was just looking in the eyes and I just couldn't stop smiling. I was like, that's what I want more in Japan. You know, I want people to have more joy and to understand that like school is not just about studies. And like the community, the sense of belonging is so important, and you can actually like have the sense of belonging through simple things as music and dance. Yeah, I was so at the end I was just like, wow, it was such a great and refreshing experience. I was so touched, and they actually gave me
show me
the card where they wrote all their
so
comments.
nice.
Like it was so cool.
Thank you, Khamida.
Yeah, some of them drew me. Isn't it cute? Isn't it the cutest thing you've ever seen? Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's so many.
I always keep these notes from the students, no matter what, because I can sense their since like how sincere they are, and I like that, you know, the comments are very different. So like one of the guys wrote, Khamida is only woman among teachers, so a very, very valuable person. It's fun for me to dance with everyone. Let's dance.
Let's dance. Okay, which one is your favorite?
Which one is my favorite comment? Oh, I think I was touched by this comment. Like it's not one I like all of them, but I was touched by comment. You're so bright and you made us happy. Your presentation was very interesting, and I think I want to be like you.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, it was cool, and
and you know the kids, they are like they have genuine
yes,
feelings.
They're very genuine.
Yeah,
yes.
And I think that those that they wrote for you, they are very from the heart.
Yeah. So my resolution for 2021 is actually to go back to the school in 1 year and to check in, to see how they're doing, because I'm really interested. You know, after hearing the presentation about their dreams, I'm like, I want these dreams for them to come true.
Of course.
Yeah.
So so it seems like that time was so much fun for you, and you taught those kids like the joy of the life and not to be shy and active. What about something that you learned from this experience, from them maybe? Yeah.
What I learned from this experience is that I think no matter what age you are, you're still a kid inside. That's why it was so easy to connect. It's like, you know, kid is connecting to a kid. I mean, and definitely, like, if I see from a bigger picture, I think this experience wouldn't be possible if at the first place these kids, they didn't have very, very supportive teachers, because I could sense like that the teachers were super open and super proactive in making sure that kids are happy, making sure that everyone feels comfortable, and making sure that the program goes in the way that they could fully express themselves and experience without, you know, this camp without limitations. So there was like very, very cute Japanese woman who was like just all the way around, like she was smiling, you know, and like laughing when something funny was happening. I can see like her genuine reaction, and I can see that she has a big heart. So they also had this English teacher that was there, like just like a dad, like a proud dad, just taking pictures of them and of every single moment. So I can, and you know, it also made me realize that teachers are spending time with children sometimes even more than their parents. So the influence that the teachers actually have on kids is very, very like, just if you rationally think, you know, mathematically, like it's very huge, given how much time they spend in school, especially in Japanese schools, and especially in a like very good school like this. So that's what I learned. And you know, also going to the schools, and seeing how the education system operates, listening to the kids' stories, you can sense like of how much of like a fundament is laid out there, like in the education at schools to their adult life. So that's why, like, you definitely, if you think about, you cannot neglect the role of education, and not just education, but actually the people that are participating in that. So I mean, for me, I was just a part-time teacher that comes, like a wind and goes, like, but there are actually people who are there for them every day, pretty much, like for 3 years, because that's how long the high school is. Yeah, so I could definitely see the bigger picture, and I could definitely make this incredible connection that is, beyond like the nationality, the language, or the border. And it felt great. Yeah, definitely felt great.
I'm touched of hearing that, actually. Yeah, got so empowered by your story. Now I want to go to do this Arobaito too.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you for watching this episode. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, share, leave the comment below. Also, you can check out our Instagram page, and we will see you next week. As always, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.